Dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to the zoology lecture module. Dear students, this is your lecture number 3rd pertaining to the chapter Animal Kingdom. Okay, in lecture number 1, we have tried our level best to understand about the diversity of animals present on the surface of Earth. And we have classified that diversity of animals based on certain characteristics. Till this point, we have classified animals based on their habitat, based on their body plan, based on their level of organization in lecture number 1. In lecture number 2, we have understood the different classes or the different types of animals based on the presence and absence of body cavity, that is coelom, and on the basis of the symmetry. Now, my dear students, today we will analyze some other features or characteristics on which we can further classify organisms into some subtypes. Today, it's going to be the fifth characteristic or the fifth property which we'll try to understand. The first was the habitat, second was level of organization, third was the body plan, fourth was coelom or your body cavity, fifth was your the fifth one was basically the symmetry. So this is going to be the sixth one. Okay, let me correct this. This is going to be the sixth one. And the sixth property which we'll try to understand is from how many layers an organism is arising as far as the embryo is concerned. So we here use the term germ layers. So on the basis of the germ layers, or we can use the word embryonic layers, that is, we will be having an idea upon the embryo from which an organism is going to develop. So animals are broadly of two types, depending upon whether they develop from 2 germ layers or they develop from 3 germ layers. See, I will show you over here. Let me make this representation. So you already are familiar with the terms, the external embryonic layer, the external germ layer, that's called the ectoderm. So this is the layer which is present, this is the layer of cells which is present in embryo. This is the external layer, that's why we call it ectoderm. And here we have, let me use a different color, we have this layer which is the endoderm. Okay, so second layer is endoderm. So if the organism or the animal develops from 2 germ layers, so if the animal is going to develop or to be formed from, because all the animals are going to be formed from the embryo. Now, if the embryo has 2 germ layers, that means the animal will develop from the 2 germ layers. What are the 2 germ layers? We have the ectoderm and endoderm. So the entire organism is going to develop from ectoderm and endoderm. That means only 2 germinal layers. Then you call these organisms, you call the organism, what is the term you use for this organism is, you call them diploblastic. What do you call them? Diploblastic animals. So these animals are diploblastic, who develop from the 2 germinal layers, ectoderm and endoderm. The example for diploblastic animals are the lower organisms, which include your poriferans. Poriferans involve your sponges and the coelentrates. The easiest example for coelentrates is Hydra. Till now, you know the examples and you came across the classes of organisms, rather the phyla of organisms also. Later on, I'll give you the entire list of the phylum. Okay. Contrary to the diploblastic animals, you could have animals arising from 3 germ layers. Okay, let me now show the 3 germ layer case. So again, you will have here, these animals also have external ectoderm. Okay, so the embryo here has ectoderm, and then we'll go to the internal layer, the gut wall, that's the endoderm. Okay, so you've got two germ layers, and in between the two layers you will have the third layer, which you saw in the coelom also. Let me use a different pen. So I'll use a red color. So over here you have now another layer, this layer, which is between the ectoderm and the endoderm. Okay, this layer, let me show it bigger. So this layer, which is between ectoderm and endoderm, we are not focusing on coelom here. Our purpose is to understand that over here we have three germ layers to put into consideration. Okay, so this red layer, which is present between ectoderm and endoderm, actually it is going to line ectoderm as well as endoderm. So this layer is which derm? This is mesoderm, because it's in the middle portion. So mesoderm, derm itself means the layer, germ layer. Okay, so ecto indicates external, endo indicates internal, meso indicates middle. So now if the organism will develop from, means the animal here will develop from, animal will develop from how many germ layers? Three germ layers. What are those layers? Can you name those layers? We have, yes, very good, ectoderm, we have endoderm, and the third one is mesoderm. If the animal is going to develop the body of the organisms, the entire structure of the organisms, the complete structure is going to develop from these three layers. Okay, ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. Then you will call the animal, you will call this type of animal, yes, can you guess? This one was diploblastic. What you will call this animal? You will call them triplo. Trip means three. Okay, triploblastic animals. So these animals will be triploblastic. The examples are all of your higher animals. If you move towards the higher animals, that means you have to move ahead of coelentrates. Then you will find whom? You will find the flatworms, what you call platyhelminths. From these platyhelminths up to your higher organisms, that is your chordates. Okay, all of these animals will be triploblastic. So you got to understand about this very important thing, that animals could be, broadly you can divide animals into two types based upon the germ layers, based upon the embryonic layers. What are the two types of the animals based on germ layers? Either you have diploblastic animals or you have triploblastic. These are going to develop from two germ layers, and these are going to develop from three germ layers. The lower organisms, poriferans and coelentrates, are diploblastic, whereas your platyhelminthes, nematohelminthes, higher organisms, your annelids, arthropods, your mollusks, your chordates, all are triploblastic animals. Okay, now moving further ahead, let me make you understand that animals can further be classified on another criteria. Let me write down the seventh criteria which you need to understand. The seventh criteria is very, very important. That is called metamerism. What is that? Metamerism. Okay, let me erase this. Let me write it once again properly so that you'll be able to find out the exact spelling. So it is metamerism. Now, metamerism is nothing, difficult. What is metamerism? You have some animals, like you can think of this earthworm. Earthworm, in earthworm's body, you are able to see what? You are able to see these segments. If you look at earthworm in your garden, what does the body have? Its body has these segments. Okay, so body of an earthworm is made up of these repetitive structures. Okay, let me keep this earthworm over here. So body of an earthworm, this is the indication of an earthworm. Earthworm belongs to the group Annelida. So this is an annelid, another term for earthworm. Okay, so what is metamerism? If the organism's body is made up of these repetitive structures, then you call that metamerism. So metamerism is what? It is the presence of repetitive structures. So there will be some structures which will be repeated in the body of an organism.